So, Adam, what are you going to be doing this Saturday?
Well, Clark, without football, probably going to nature walk. Might go meet with a book club on Saturday.
Are you in a book club?
Nah.
Welcome, everybody, to Row 60, a Georgia football podcast. My name is Clark Gaines. Joining me, as always, Adam Thornton. And this is show number 10. Adam, we've hit double digits.
Double digits, Clark. And you know what's close to double digits, too?
What's that?
Already, Georgia football wins. We're getting there. We're rolling, baby.
Yes. 7-0 on the season after a big win versus Kentucky at home. It was a good day. It was a good day. Adam, tell us about the game day experience.
Well, Clark, that fall Christmas we've been talking about, that crispness is getting in the air. I mean, it's football weather now. When it's October, that means it is time to ramp it up. We've said it, and that's what Georgia's doing. I mean, it was beautiful, beautiful day. The sun was just glistening. Not a cloud in the sky.
Hey,
look,
vocabulary.
I can describe the environment like that. I mean, it was just beautiful weather. Beautiful weather. A lot of camaraderie and fellowship going on all across the classic city and tailgates. I mean, just a good feel. Everybody was just excited, just happy, just happy, and just you could just trail the adrenaline level is just ramping up more and more each week.
There you go.
Sir.
As I'm sure many of y'all know, it is a bye week.
Yep.
And so this episode will be a little bit different. What we're going to do is we will talk about the Kentucky game, obviously, offense, defense, and special teams. And then towards the end, instead of previewing Florida, we are going to talk a lot about college football, the landscape. That's my favorite word.
Chaos.
The chaos, yeah. And, a lot more to come. Pick them. And then... yeah. And then we have another big announcement towards the end of the show. So stick around. We are glad that you are listening to us. And welcome to the Row 60 family for any of our newcomers.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you guys listening and sticking around. And
hey, we start a podcast and Georgia makes a historic run.
that's right.
That's so, thank y'all for coming on. And just the ride's going to be fun from here on out. Yeah. 5 more games, Clark. Time to just finish business, baby.
That's
then
it.
Head into Atlanta. Full steam ahead, baby.
Yes, sir.
We're getting a little rejuvenation this week, though. Everybody, fans, we're resting our vocal cords, getting some rest. Players, we've been dinged up a little bit. We went up to that bye week, but now everybody can just... RELAX, Aaron Rodgers, relax, baby. I did spell that right. And I know I did. I thought hard on that. I did. Yeah, it's a relax, baby, because it's the bye week. The bye week, much deserved. So
yeah, and we'll talk about what the bye week means for us. I mean, obviously, you're halfway through the season when you get to this bye week every year, and big game coming up. So let's talk a little bit more about the game day atmosphere. I was not there, had a wedding to film. My cousin Haley got married. Beautiful day.
Congrats to all the wedding people out there that got married. We're going to give a clap to all the new brides out there yesterday. Haley and everybody else that might have got married.
Right.
Congrats. That's awesome. Good moment in life for everybody.
For sure. I had to get since I could not attend the game, I had to get some AirPods. Now, Adam, I don't have any sort of use for AirPods.
Right. I'm not a big fan of it either. I like the classic just cord. Just let them know.
Agreed.
Everybody know what you're listening to.
Exactly. So, but I went with the one AirPod, throughout the day, and got to hear the broadcast.
Awesome, Clark.
And keep up with the game just a little bit. So,
loved it.
But yeah, Adam, give us that weekly concession stands report. How was the popcorn? How was the hot dog? Did you get anything else?
I didn't get any popcorn. Just the hot dog was good, as always. It was good. Concessions, I think, still struggling a little bit in Sanford Stadium as far as keeping the inventory in stock. I don't know if that's necessarily Sanford Stadium's problem or just the world we live in today being short supplied. But it was good. It was good. Good Coca-Cola Classic. Still enjoy that Zaxby's ice that you get. Just a good soft crunch, good texture from the ice there.
Absolutely.
Coke, everything was good. So good day for the concessions. I'll give it to them. A good day. I mean, a lot of demand, and I think they answered, as far as I'm concerned, from what we wanted, and we went out, we got some water at halftime. Everything was good.
Yeah. Adam, a friend sent me this. According to Josh Brooks, which, for those who don't know, that is our athletic director at the University of Georgia. According to Josh Brooks, the previous record of hot dogs sold in Sanford Stadium was around 7,000. All right.
Interesting.
So listen to this. For the Arkansas game, which was a couple games back, 13,000 hot dogs.
Oh,
sold.
wow. So 6,000 over the record.
And Adam, I got to say something. we may be starting something here on Row 60.
Absolutely. You know, you associate getting a hot dog at the ballpark, baseball, right? I mean, it's in the song, Take Me Out the Ball Game, you know, with some Cracker Jacks, all that stuff. Nah, it's a football thing. Everybody get a hot dog, grill a hot dog before the game if you're at your house or wherever, Bullet, whatever you want to do with it. Just eat you a hot dog. That's going to be a Row 60 tradition for everybody. Pre-game for the dogs. Eat a dog for the dogs.
Eat a dog for the dogs.
Eat a dog for the dogs is what we're going with from now on.
Oh, man.
Yes,
all
sir.
right. Let me ask you this too, Adam. Since you were there, since you were live, boots on the ground, how was the crowd noise? Was it louder than Arkansas? Just about the same?
It was about the same. It was about the same. I mean, it was a really, really good just atmosphere. And I was on edge the whole entire time. I'm not going to lie. My nerves were shot. I don't know why. They were just shot. I mean, every game, you know, you get that feel. This is the year. This is it. So you just get more and more nervous each game. And my nerves were just shot the whole entire time. But the crowd answered. It was loud for Kentucky. And I know they did a lot of stuff. They did a really good job preparing for the crowd environment and did not have any false starts because of the silent snap counts that they had and the hand motion gestures and everything. The communication between the quarterback and the OL and everybody, they did a really good job establishing that. But still, it was hard. They had to go out of their way to do that because of the atmosphere in San Francisco.
Right.
Crowd noise. So.
Yeah, and it really did. I watched the replay of it. It really didn't seem to faze them.
Right.
And I think Kentucky, I'll say this. I think outside of maybe Clemson's defensive performance, I think Kentucky may have played us the best out of any other team. And we're going to talk about it here in just a second. But in Adam, one thing too that I wanted to mention was you're saying that you were anxious through this whole game. And it's because, and I don't think a lot of people realize this, had Kentucky beat us, people, they would have probably run they're probably still going to run the table, be second in the East. And, had we lost this, they would have owned the tiebreaker. They would have been in Atlanta on December. I tell you,
yeah, absolutely. They are definitely on track right now. It's not far-fetched at all for them to go 11-1. Best season in Kentucky football history, if that's the case. If that comes to fruition. And they're staring a New Year's Six bowl right down the face and going to be trying to make a playoff argument at that if they are 11-1. So, really well-coached team. And, man, yeah. It was a very nerve-wracking game.
Yeah. Absolutely. One thing that not Kirk Herbstreit, Lee Corso mentioned on College Game Day, I found this very interesting. This was the first time in team history that Georgia was ranked unanimously number one.
By everybody.
Awesome. So you got the AP poll. For those who don't know what that is, a lot of people in the press, Associated Press, they get together, they submit their vote each week, and all, I guess 60 of them, I don't know, somewhere around that. All of them voted Georgia number one.
And they come from all different regions of the country, Clark. And traditionally, there's always been a lot of region bias, in the South and the West, Pac-12, when USC was good back in the day and stuff like that, and up north, Notre Dame, so forth. So for everybody in the country to sit there and watch this Georgia football team week in and week out and see that this is the best team in the country. Yeah. I mean, that says something. Absolutely.
Another thing I found interesting, first ever matchup of 6-0 SEC East teams. That's crazy.
That's crazy to think about, Clark. And the East, and so that goes back to 92 from when the SEC split the two divisions. And you think about the great Florida and Tennessee teams from the 1990s, they always met early in the year. So both of them never had a chance to be undefeated, to get 6 games in before they met. And so that is crazy to think. It's crazy to think that Georgia and Florida has never met in Jacksonville 6-0, both of them. So, I mean, that stat blew my mind.
Absolutely.
Blew my mind. For it to be Kentucky, one of the teams too.
Right.
Man, would you ever thought?
That's crazy. I had to stop it on the TV and then rewind it because this was unbelievable.
Oh, it is.
Another thing, I just like these little facts.
Yeah, give us another tidbit. Give us another tidbit. Oh, fun fact. I love a fun fact. Bring it.
Mark Stoops has yet to beat Georgia at Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. What, he's 0-9 now? Would that be right? Well, or 8. Because he's starting 13. Yeah. Isn't that right? Yeah. Sure. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 9. Okay, you got to do some basic math. So, good little, you had to use the fingers to count that up. But, 0-9. Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. I know he's beat everybody else in the East but Georgia, but awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Just keep it on him. Yeah. Keep it on him. Don't let up.
I want to say congratulations, Mark Stoops.
Moral win.
Covered
the spread.
Yeah, covered the spread.
Historic drive there at the end.
12
From the
minutes.
1-inch line, baby. Call the timeout. Set up the wide receiver screen. Punch it in.
Congratulations.
I don't know if the message was that, you tell the players to play the whistle. You're going to coach to the whistle too, or what it was. But I thought, man, if they're really, trying to not give up to the very end, why was it more? It should have been more up tempo that last drive.
A sense of urgency.
You get a little urgency going. Let's get to the line. Let's go instead of taking our time running down the play clock every play and just kind of, Kirby and they're just sitting back like, keep everything in front of you. Let them melt the clock down if they want to. That's fine. But that last drive was like 75 yards, 22 plays.
Yeah.
Just kept everything in front. And
it took the majority of the fourth quarter. I think 12-ish minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, absolutely. So.
And one thing I want to say about our team, looking at this Kentucky game and this victory and just the season as a whole, this Georgia football team, to me, has proven that it just does not look past any game. There hasn't been a game where we just have not gotten off the bus. And that's kind of, to be honest with you, that's not very typical to see that in a Georgia football team. There's typically up to this point, you're 7 games in, there's at least one game we can point and say, hey, we did not play a good, complete football game. We didn't look like we came off the bus, but we can't say that this year.
That's right, Clark. I tell you, and two, this spot where this game was on the calendar is traditionally and historically in the Martin Richt area and in the Kirby Smart area, you have to call it like it is a game leading up to the bye, mid-October, where we have been known to have a slip-up. LSU in 18, Carolina in 19. Ole Miss was around this time, early October, I think, in 16. But, you think about that, though, that's traditionally where a time where it's like we're trying to limp to the off week. You got Florida looming a couple weeks away, and some team comes up, slips up, and bites us and gets us. And, and that's kind of the game you referred to, Clark. They're not getting off the bus. Kind of happens this time. But, completely dominant performance. Right. And, heading into bye week undefeated. Can't beat it. Number one in the nation. Let's go. Give a clap for that.
Yes. Does not get better than that.
Love it.
So let's talk about our offense, Adam. Let's start with the offensive line play. Yeah. To me, we played tremendous.
I thought it was, Clark. I really do. I feel like, especially pass protection. Pass protection was great. I think Stetson Bennett really had a lot of time. There was a couple times where they did some disguised blitzes where it didn't look like they were coming and then came and I think a third down sack or so. But for the most part, Stetson had time to do what he wanted to do into the pocket and throw the football. And as far as running, I think especially once we wore down the defensive line, we were able to move the football on the ground. One thing Kentucky did, and you got to give Brad White and Mark Stoops credit on the defensive side of the football for Kentucky, is they were not going to let us run the ball inside and expose them where they were weak inside because of some injuries in their interior defensive line. They sent a bunch of linebacker fires in the A-gap all day.
Right.
And, right before our guards and center could know it, there was linebackers in the A-gap right there. So, and that's tough to defend and run the football against up the middle when you have that just constantly going fire through there. And I think later on they had a little angle route, cross across the middle that James Cook scored the first touchdown on. Was a good play dialed up by Monken because of how much pressure from the middle linebackers coming up the gaps that they did send to commit to not letting Georgia run the ball up the middle. But finally, they wore them down, started picking up some yards there on the ground. So overall, great performance.
I think it was a very balanced, just as far as play calling goes. Right. I think it was a very balanced game. We ran the ball, we threw the ball, and really we could do either or whenever we wanted. So that's good to see. It's also good to see Jamari Sawyer back from that injury, playing. He got some snaps out there, so that's promising, and hopefully what he endured was not too bad. So.
Right. Brock Bowers, man, just coming in doing that. Just absolute stud. A freak freshman tight end, and you got to find ways to utilize guys like that. So him being able to do that is just amazing. Yeah, just amazing.
I tell you, Adam, if he's not the SEC Freshman of the Year, I don't know who is.
Yes, absolutely. He's a stud.
Yeah,
absolute stud.
He leads the SEC freshman receivers, so all receivers, in touchdown receptions with 6.
Oh, man.
And I think the next 2 guys are actually Ladd McConkey and A.D. Mitchell.
Yeah.
With 2.
Unreal.
So,
unreal.
A lot of people say, preseason, a lot of people said, we're going to have a lot of troubles trying to throw the ball because all of our receivers are gone. But it's the next man up. We got Brock Bowers, A.D. Mitchell, young freshmen playing.
Yes, and give Cortez Hankton and Todd Hartley, the wide receiver and tight end coach, a lot of credit for that. Getting these guys in and developing and just recruiting. That's what recruiting does for you, Clark, because there's that's a group that's been decimated since the offseason with injuries, the veteran guys going down, and these freshman guys having to come in and step in. So these coaches getting them ready to do it, and also recruiting the talent that allows you to be able to do that. It's huge, and that's why Georgia's undefeated, ranked number 1 in the country right now, is that that ability to develop and get these guys in like that next man up mentality and being able not to drop off a level when you can plug these guys in for depth. I mean,
right.
Shoot, that's what championship teams are made of.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
Also good to see Darnell Washington back and running and contributing to the passing attack. I think he had maybe 2 catches yesterday.
Yes.
Hurdled a man, just exciting football player. Really, all 3 of our tight ends. I just love the diversity in that room. And I think I may have mentioned this last podcast, but you got Brock Bowers, very, kind of undersized as a tight end at Georgia at least, and a 6'4" guy. He runs like a receiver, blocks like a tight end. That's awesome. He's a hybrid, I think. Then you got Darnell Washington, 6'7", I think. Just big, tall guy, catch the ball. He can block. But huge target. And then John Fitzpatrick, same thing. I mean, great blocker. So when you got 3 tight ends, you can rotate. And then, and we saw a couple of different plays where Monken actually had a 3 tight end set. We ran the ball out of that, got all 3 of those tight ends involved in the blocking scheme. So I like it.
It's huge, huge, man. And a lot of NFL teams like to do that. When you have that 3 tight end bunch set like that, where, like you said, Clark, you could obviously a bunch of different route tree patterns that you can run out of that with those tight ends. All 3 of them, the guys who can catch the football and make athletic plays. But then, like you said, they get outside on the perimeter or come in and have a crap block or great blocking guys too. So I know there was one where Kendall Milton could have scored on the goal line right there. If Bowers, he just missed his guy right there, just showed he's human a little bit. You'll have that from time to time. And but that was in that 3 tight end set, and you saw that a lot yesterday. And all of them were very excited. The nation is understanding that. Oscar Delp is a guy who just committed, tight end recruit that we got this past week, highly ranked tight end. So kudos to Todd Hartley. I hadn't called him out really yet this year on the podcast. So great job he's doing in Athens.
Great pickup by Kirby getting him and bringing him in.
Absolutely.
He's a heck of a recruiter.
Absolutely. He's the guy who sits right beside Monken in the booth. So I'm sure some eyes up there and just a talented guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Well, and after watching yesterday's performance, it's hard to say we're not throwing it to our tight ends because we are. We are. And we're getting them involved in a lot of different ways. So
what I really like, Clark, too, is I feel like they opened it up even more in the second half. And Kirby, I believe, even had told Monken, hey, because that's something everybody thinks that Kirby handcuffs his offense coordinators. That's been a myth, or so that's been speculated out there since Kirby's arrival in Athens.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think that Monken's a little bit maybe conservative with great game plans, too, and stuff. But, I mean, you think about it, because I get frustrated a little bit, too, Clark, when I think we're running the ball too much on first down. Why are we running up, but then again, you think about what opens up your packages that you have for plays. If you get 3 or 4 yards, if you get 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6, that opens up to a variety of play calls and adds your percentage of success to get a first down that much more. And the best way to get those yards is pound the football. And when you have a line and the backs that we have to set yourself up in those situations to get them. So, but great play calling against a solid defense who's coached very well and just plays good disciplined football at Kentucky. Absolutely.
One thing I've also noticed this year about this offense is we don't really, and knock on wood here, we haven't really gotten ourselves in bad positions. What I'm saying is like third and longs. We're always kind of third and manageable. And, I don't know how great our conversion rate is, but, that's something good to see. We're not shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties and just stupid mistakes. I haven't really seen a bunch of fumbles, snaps over the head, that kind of thing. Once again, knock on wood, that stuff could come to fruition, but I just think we're too disciplined to play that kind of ball.
I think we are. I think it's ramping up, and I'm excited, Clark. I really truly think. And as the second half of the season, I know that we're over the halfway point. We're 7-0 right now, but I like to think the bye week on is kind of that second half of the season. I feel like what we've done, Clark, because the injuries have been so tough, starting from the very first drive of the year against Clemson and even the offseason, has, challenged this staff to have to plug guys in, develop them, and bring them in. We saw that. We said it with the freshman receivers and tight ends. Being able to get them in, these guys stepping up, I think, it looked like, I think even coming out of Nashville with JT Daniels, that's the last game he played in, everybody was like, let's just, get through this rough October slate, that we got, and get to the bye week, and then at the end of the month play Florida. And I think just trying to get that bye week and what we're going to see on offense, I think it's going to be amazing how much even more we see in Jacksonville from getting guys healthy, getting the Jermaine Burtons back 100% healthy, Marcus Rosenby, Jack Saints,
Kenny McIntosh
healthy, Kenny McIntosh back healthy, getting a lot of weapons in there. And if Pickens, if the rumors are true that in late season he might be out there dressing out playing, then hey, get JT Daniels healthy. I mean, it's very exciting to see, and I think I think the game plan has changed from what Monken has wanted to do originally to adapting to what he has now and making it work, and that just shows the sign of great elite coaching is when you can do that.
Absolutely. Adam, the elephant in the room, and you kind of mentioned this name, but JT. I mean, what at this point, and I know I sound crazy saying this, I think Stetson is our guy. Yeah, I do, and it's going to be very interesting to see who we trot out there against Florida, because I personally, I think JT may have been ready for this game. I don't know, maybe not, but I definitely think he'll be ready for Florida. And who we put out there, I think is going to say a lot about the rest of the season. Yeah, and it may be, it may be a situation like Eason and Fromm, or Fields and Fromm.
I think the big question, and that's going to be debated all across the state here in the next couple of weeks, is it JT or Stetson? What I love about it more than anything, Clark, is I don't think either one of them are going to be a cancer in the locker room, and that is the main thing. Both of them are team guys. You could tell when JT was healthy in there, Stetson was the first one to congratulate, and when Stetson's in there now, JT's the first one to come to the side. They're talking with each other about playing ball, and I think both of them were blessed here at the University of Georgia that they're high character guys, and all the way around. And I think on the offensive side of the football, both of them are like, hey, whoever you trot out there, that's our leader, that's our guy. We're going to rally around them. And you could just tell on the sidelines, the chemistry's there. And that's what you got to have in a championship team. What I don't think we had back the 2018 season with Justin Fields and Jake Fromm divided the locker room. Kirby's not going to let that happen again. But first and foremost, JT Daniels and Stetson aren't going to allow that to happen. Right. So I believe, though, Clark, I mean, I don't know. I think, though, the question is, with this, can Stetson lead this offense to be a national championship type offense? Yeah. And I think he can. Yeah, I think he's got that grit, and he's getting better each week with it. But in my personal opinion, I still think this is JT Daniels. Okay. I do, which not saying anything away from Stetson. We're blessed to be in this scenario where you have two guys that can do that. But I don't know, Clark. But then I don't know. But has Stetson won the locker room over as far as who they would, click better with on offense, the respect? I don't know that, Clark. I don't know. And that's only the locker room knows that. And what Monken and Kirby want to do with it going forward, it wouldn't surprise me either way who starts in Jacksonville. But I do think you'll see JT Daniels on the field when he is healthy enough. Yeah. And it'll be his job starting out. And then if he takes it and run with it, and he's got butt, I think he'll be on a leash that if he's just not up, but Stetson's going to come right back out there.
And Stetson brings, I think they both have their features.
Absolutely.
I think with JT, you are getting a more consistent pass, and it does seem to flow a little bit better, the passing attack. But you get Stetson out in the pocket, out of the pocket. I think he's a better passer out of the pocket than he is in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right, Carl. I think, I've even heard Stetson has a stronger arm than JT, which it was hard for me to believe. But I think maybe JT could be a little bit more accurate with the football when he has time to stay in the pocket. But like you said, Clark, I think Stetson can get outside the pocket, especially with his legs. If there is a zone read or RPO type play that he can tuck in and pull and get yardage better than JT can. So I think both have their advantages. I think both are respected by their teammates, and that's what matters.
That's key
for when you have a quarterback that you trot out there to win a championship.
Absolutely.
So I trust this staff and I trust this team to work through this. There not be any controversy, not be a distraction. But I do think number 18 will be the guy behind this. I have no reason to base this off of, but my personal opinion and gut feeling that in Jacksonville, And I think this has been the plan all along. And Stetson's done a heck of a job. And I'll be fine if he's the guy at Jacksonville. I don't care. I just want Georgia to win the national championship. It doesn't matter who it is.
And I think they all do.
And you're right, Clark. Everybody, and this is, and this isn't a debate. This isn't something that fans should be debating about. They're going to put the guy out there who gives us the best chance to win.
Absolutely.
And that's all we could ask for as a fan. So we'll see. But my gut, my call, if you're asking that, and I'm going to ask you the same question, is I think number 18, JT Daniels, will be the starting quarterback in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah. I think, Adam, I'm going to go the opposite of you.
I love it.
This is a good problem to have, people. It really is. But I think Stetson will get the start. Yeah. And once again, that's just an opinion.
Yeah.
You look at him, it's hard to just, I think, take him out at this point. Right. He went 14 for 20, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns. And what I saw that really surprised me was the touch he was putting on the ball with guys like Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey. And he's been doing that for a couple games now. The touch, and there was one pass specifically to Brock Bowers. I mean, it was just beautiful.
It was perfect timed.
Just great timing. Yeah. And that's why I think right now Stetson's our guy, because he has that timing down. It really does seem like he has that chemistry with those guys. And those are the guys who are playing. It's not it's not Jermaine Burton. It's not Dom Blaylock, it's these younger guys, and I don't know, they seem to mesh better.
No, you're right, Clark. Redshirt freshman Ladd McConkey last year was a redshirt year. He's the guy that's running routes with Stetson. He's developing that chemistry. So you're right, man, and I agree with that. And I'm not saying I don't think Stetson can win a national championship, because I do think this team can win it with Stetson being as quarterback. Either one of them. I just think I love how JT Daniels is still engaged. He's not sitting in the back of the sideline from what I've seen, and I don't think he is not sitting in the back of the sideline sulking like Spencer Rattler in Oklahoma.
That's disgusting. That is disgusting.
We'll talk about that when we talk about the state of football, later on in play. But he's not. He's sitting there. He's right in the middle of the offensive game plan. He's talking to Stetson in between drives and in it. And I still think he's got the respect to this team.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I don't know. I've never tore a lat, but I can imagine that's hard to throw. So, I mean, I don't think he's just sitting out, because I think he'll be back next year, Clark.
And a lot of people, I agree with you there. I think a lot of people are accusing JT of just sitting out and whatever, maybe saving for the draft. No, I really don't think that's the kind of player he is.
He is in pain, and Stetson gives us the best chance right now. But I think all along, since the Vanderbilt game in Nashville in late September, it has been Stetson, get us through Arkansas, get us through Auburn, get us through Kentucky. He's done a great job. Check mark. And then let's go into the bye week and reevaluate everything. Have the competition, whatever. Yeah. But the good thing about it, and the most important thing, last thing I'll say about it, Clark, and you can't stress it enough, is it is not a divided locker room. And I think I truly feel, I have no insight on that, but you could just, you as a fan, you don't have to be right in the middle of it to tell when it is.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a great point.
And it's not in Athens. These team leaders, the coaching staff, and those guys aren't going to let it happen. No. Everybody's just bought into the right goal, man. So that's why, with confidence, I could say, I don't care who's trotting out there. That's just my gut. It's JT. But we're blessed to have both of them.
Absolutely.
Blessed to have both of them as a fan base, and everybody should realize that.
Yeah. A couple more things I want to personally mention about the offensive performance against Kentucky. Heads up play by Kendall Milton, always play through the whistle. That was a great play.
Great.
And that could have really swayed,
it could have swayed
the game, No,
Clark, that's a great point. That's football 101, is just having your head on the swivel, play until the whistle. Everybody and their brother thought that was an incomplete pass. Yeah. I mean, the Kentucky defense, they had 3 or 4 guys around the football. They could have picked it up and scored. But Kendall Milton, you could just tell he kind of walked over. He didn't want to draw attention almost, because he knew he couldn't beat those defenders to the football. But then right when he got to it, pounced on it. Yeah. So great football IQ by Kendall Milton. Doing that kind of thing and having that kind of mindset and preparations, how you win championships.
That's it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Kudos, Kendall. Good play, Kendall.
Big play. And then also, and last thing we're going to mention about the offense, Kentucky, once again, played a heck of a football game. I think they did all they could to win that game.
Oh, absolutely.
But it just goes to show our best is going to beat anybody else's best in the nation. They had 9 senior starters. 9. Isn't that
Kentucky
crazy?
had 9 senior starters.
9 out of 11.
On the defense side of the football. And they played discipline.
Yeah.
And I mean, one thing, too, I wanted to, Kendall Milton, that guy, you just look at him, the potential. He's there like he's about to bust it. About bust one.
Yeah,
he barely got out of bounds there, but ran the ball hard. too. So good offensive performance, man. Wore them down, and overall, Georgia dominated like they should against a very good football team. In my opinion, Clark, the best football team Georgia will play until the first Saturday in December in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah.
For the remainder of the year, they are absolute.
I think you're right. I mean, well, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but yeah, we'll save some of that, general college football talk later. All right, defense. Man, what another good performance this week. And, the score doesn't really reflect that. Yeah. As we mentioned earlier, Mark Stoops, congratulations, buddy. You got a moral victory touchdown, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. Oh, man. I thought, first I will say, I think that Liam Cohn, a guy, Kentucky's new offensive coordinator who spent some time in Los Angeles Rams over there with Sean McVay, runs a very complex, very good offensive system.
Yeah.
And you got to say, Will Levis is a pretty good dang quarterback, I think, Clark. And, a tough guy, a strong guy. We saw that there a couple times where he should have lost the football on some quarterback strips there. And I think they had a good game plan going in, but our defense and our defensive coaches was just too much for them. One thing I think, Clark, they tried to really do that I think caught us off guard is a lot of misdirection and a lot of motion stuff.
Right.
With their one guy, the number one, Wan'Dale Robinson's their playmaker. But I think the constant motion, what it does is it makes the secondary think. It freezes the secondary a little bit, kind of confuses them. And against a fast Georgia defense who could get to the backfield quick, it was very smart with trying to run some screen plays, run some motion, and just kind of freeze that second level and that third level. And a lot of horizontal stuff, a lot of horizontal plays to the passing plays to the tight end, just trying to create space to go up. And I think that's something that they did well trying to do that. I mean, it looked like every time they needed yardage, they would roll out to the far side of the field and then throw back to the short side of the field and get some plays to a tight end or something, just some horizontal plays. Never really pushed the ball downfield.
Yeah.
And I don't know. One thing I thought that I think we were fine with, especially when we got up by a couple touchdowns, is letting them, if they're going to throw, the football, and it's just going to be either those horizontal passing plays or 3 or 4 yard dink and dunks here, and just playing it in front of them and just let them eat up the clock.
Yeah.
So.
Going back to motions and everything, we're not playing a whole lot of man this year.
Right, and that's a lot of zone coverage.
That's something Gary Danielson mentioned. That was a good point he brought up during the broadcast. But one of the reasons being that we don't have to play man because we've got such a consistent pass rush, and we can drop those linebackers in coverage. We can blitz them. One of them can be a spy. One of them can play the flats. Yeah. There's a slew of different things they can do, and that's because we got a consistent pass rush. We don't have to leave those corners out on an island. And to be honest with you, I don't know if our corners are as quick as they should be to play man, or as physical. I don't know, but just different schemes this year. It's different. Yeah. It's different than what we've seen in the past.
I agree, Clark. You're exactly right. It's something that, Kirby was a guy. He likes to man up and everything, press coverage, all that good stuff. There is a lot of zone. And like you said, you get pressure on the quarterback with different looks, either sending guys or just sending your base defensive line. And I mean, when you have Jordan Davis, Devontae White, Jalen Carter, of course, they're going to get the backfield quick.
Right.
And I think, too, I don't like to be this guy, Clark, but you cannot tell me that against a defensive line like the University of Georgia, how there could not be one single holding call the whole game.
Goodness.
The whole game against a group like that. When as much as they were in the backfield, as much as screen and dink and dunk passes, I think I'm not going. I hate when you're complaining, they're holding her to that guy. That's holding every play guy. But there were some times I think where some drives for Kentucky were extended and key downs where I think you could have called some holding. And maybe I hope it's not that Georgia is just so quick in penetrating the opposing team's offensive line and getting into the backfield that referees think, well, they're already there. They should be. You get what I'm saying, and taking away kind of the element of them being held. And I think there was some questionable times where there should have been a holding call, at least one, but there was none all day. I mean, Kentucky had a good offensive line. Give them their due on that. But I think there was some times where we didn't get the benefit of doubt on some of those calls where they should have been backed up 10 more yards.
There was one picture I saw on Facebook. I mean, the guy literally was hugging Jalen Carter as he was, about to just destroy Will Levis. So,
well, I hope that's something that Kirby kind of gets in some ears, some reps, kind of works them a little bit. Nothing major. Man, we're not going to be those kind of people. Just all the refs, all that stuff. But it's something. When it's something like that, it does need to be pointed out. So,
well, I think this is one of the better offensive lines that we played this season. Kentucky, it may be the best, really. I mean, out in Arkansas,
I think,
so
I think the one thing that worries me about the defense is safety play in the third level. I think some corners are good. Keely Ringo's coming into his own more and more every week, but I think some a little bit in the safety. It's a little bit. Secondary, not good. Not a complaint, but we have to point out where I think when Kentucky did get some good yards through the air on some third and long situations, I feel like the middle of the field was attacked a little bit too much.
Yeah, and that's kind of the trade-off when you do play zone. You're going to get some soft zone coverage, and they're going to find some holes, you know, and that's just part of it.
That's
but
right.
It really, but I see what you're saying, but I'm not very concerned about it only because I think we are just stopping the explosive plays. I mean, really, think about it. I cannot recall a time in this season where we just had one totally, busted play other than the South Carolina
game. That was Josh Van.
Other than that,
there's not. No, you're right. So, you want to keep everything in front of you, and that's what they did. And Kentucky essentially just ran the clock out on themselves. I think, but the only thing I'm saying, it's not a complaint, but is getting off the field. If there's something you say the defense need to improve on from Saturday, it's getting off the field on third down situations. Gotcha. There was a lot of third and long where I think the middle of the field, they exposed and kind of, extended some drives that shouldn't have been extended. Yeah. But all in all, you can't complain.
Yeah, and
defense is special, and they had a good game plan. That touchdown drive when they would have made it 14-7, you could tell that Kentucky's coaching staff and that Liam Cohn, their offense coordinator, pulled every trick out of the bag. Every good call, he looked on that play sheet and everything because it was do or die. It was. They felt like
they needed points. So.
Oh yeah, I mean. Everything out of it. I mean, it was just misdirection. But that shows you right there, the 11th ranked team of the country felt like they had they could not just line up and play the type of football, man on man from what against this Georgia.
It had to be gimmicky.
There had to be stuff to kind of freeze the defense a little bit. So, but great job by our guys. Good discipline.
Going back to the secondary just for a second, I love Dan Jackson. I think he plays so hard. He is a physical safety, and he comes up, and I think he does a great job in run support. Hats off to him, shout out. And he's had to step up, with all these injuries and everything. So shout out to Dan Jackson, and a heck of a special teams player too. So
I mean, he's not afraid to come in there and put a hat on. Anybody,
neither is Lewis Seen.
No,
my goodness, Lewis Seen almost kind of reminds me of Greg Blue in that he will just come. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're Kyle Pitts or whoever, he's going to lay the wood. And I love to see that from a safety.
He is, and you can tell he's a leader in that secondary. We get a guy like Chris Smith back. Hopefully he'll be back in Jacksonville, and just keep it going.
Another thing about the defense, the gang tackling. I'm seeing a lot of hats to the football. It's not a whole lot of solo tackling happening.
That's
right. A lot of group tackling, a lot of hats to the ball.
There it is. N'Kobe Dean still just playing like a freak athlete. There was a time where he saved a touchdown on a third down there where right before the block field goal where they did one of those things where Levis bootlegged to the right and there was a throwback screen to the tight end all around the line of scrimmage where N'Kobe fought off offensive lineman for a block.
He fought two blocks.
Yeah, two.
Well, I don't know if it's offensive line, but 2 blocks.
2 blocks right there and got a quick hat in football. And I mean, he was the only guy over there. It was a good discipline to stay at home and make that play.
I think that's the word for this defense is just discipline. They all know what they're doing. They all work together as a team effort.
That's right.
It's not one guy, doing.
That's it.
So. Oh, my goodness. Anything else you want to mention about defense?
I'm excited. Much deserved rest these next couple of weeks. Get some guys that might be banged up a little bit, get them healthy, and get a good game plan together, and continuing to stop the run. Chris Rodriguez, SEC's leading rusher. What was it, 7 yards on 7 carry? Or maybe he averaged a yard
1 yard per carry.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Yeah. That's unbelievable. And I mean, good things happen on the defense side of the football when you commit to stopping the run first and then letting it go from there.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Bam, another great A+ job effort by the defense.
Absolutely. The last thing I want to say, Jalen Carter, buddy, you got lucky. We can't be stupid.
You think he heard about that?
Oh, that kid, God bless him. He's running gassers all day tomorrow. I can guarantee Monday.
Yeah.
I'd hate.
I know the emotions got to him on that last play, but he did get lucky because he did have a full swing on the guy.
Yeah, we need every player eligible and healthy that we can get from here on out. So we got to cut that out, and thankfully that did not cost us, because that would have been a big blow going into a game like Florida.
It would have,
where we need everybody.
That's right.
All right, special teams, man. Another
you called it, Clark.
I called it.
You called it, baby.
I got a text from Alex Malcolm during the wedding. He said, "You called it, man."
That's
and I
right.
said, "Wait, what?" And realized we had blocked the field goal. Didn't just block a field goal. We blocked an extra point at the end. And hats off to Devontae Wyatt and Jordan Davis. Those big bodies just flooding.
Freaks,
flooding.
Man. Just freaks. Yeah. I love it.
So blocked field goal there. That was a big play too. I mean, it is much needed at that time. Even though we were up quite a few points. So punt team down 1 in the 5. That was a beautiful punt by Camarda.
Yeah, Camarda doesn't get all the recognition he deserves of how dangerous he is flipping field position consistently, like he does, getting off good, clean punts, and just a weapon, man, pinning guys back. And then when you got a defense like that, you trot onto the field, man, it's demoralizing for an offense.
Yeah.
Love it.
On the flip side of that, Kieris, he bobbled 2 punts.
In Kieris's defense, that sun, this time of year and the time of day, that sun was rough.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And, one thing, too, that first punt that he bobbled, a line drive, kind of tough to handle. I love how he didn't panic and try to scoop the ball up, potentially getting hit from the blind side and coughing it up again, and Kentucky falling on the ball. He just leisurely, calmly fell on the football. Yeah. Secured it. Fine. Yeah. So, good job of recovering by him, but you don't need that. That's why I hate a punt. That's why I literally have to close my eyes and bend down, because it's a stupid way to give the ball back over is buffing a punt.
And we've seen it.
There's nothing worse than watching your team try to field a punt and it just go through and hit the shoulder pads, bang off of it, and you give them the ball right back.
Yeah, it's sad.
It tears me up. My wife is just thinks I'm crazy because I just kneel down in the field.
Oh, I don't think anybody else in the stadium does that, but you.
Because I've done that for years now.
Yeah.
Because the thought of a muff punt drives me crazy.
And the momentum swing. And when you recover a muff punt like that, the momentum you get from that is.
And it's demoralizing as a fan. You just pull up the surrender code. Like.
And then the next thing you know, you're on ESPN.
That's why I hate a punt.
Meme.
That's why I hate a punt.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even field one if I was a coach. That's terrible myself. I mean, that's not a good winner's mentality by myself. But I'm just like, get away from it.
Yeah.
Peter.
Oh, gosh. All right, Jackpot, God bless him, broke a streak of about 360-something consecutive extra points made. But, you'll have that.
You'll have that from time to time. I mean, that was a good, prideful little record we had going on there, leading the NCAA. But, good thing about having a streak, bro. You can start it back up next week.
Yeah. Just, who knows? 10 seasons.
Up,
10 seasons from now, we may be. Hopefully, it's not 10. Hopefully, we score a lot more than that.
Man. Awesome.
Yeah, good. Just a great game against Kentucky, and man,
that was a dominant performance. I know that Kentucky covered the spread, but still, they're a really good football team. I think has a really good chance to finish 11-1, definitely 10-2. Yeah. I think at the worst 10-2. I personally believe. And when you dominate a team, really dominate them. I mean, they knew they were beat too. I feel like, and the game plan. There it's special. It's good, and it's been tough on these guys. 7 games in a row, grueling, a grind, and they have a much deserved bye coming up. So, bam, Clark. I mean, we talked about it. We said, hey, when we left Nashville, we're like, you got a good Arkansas team, top 10. You got the gauntlet of Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, and Florida. You get through them and you feel really good about going into the end of the year. And, looking at it now, it looks like the least toughest opponent from that stretch is going to be Florida and Jacksonville. Now, we're going to talk about this later on. Florida always makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Going to Jacksonville always make me nervous. But, man, that's it's exciting. But these last 3 weeks, some good dominant football being played on the road and in Sanford Stadium. Fans stepped up. Everybody was elite. So rest, rejuvenate, recover, baby.
That's it.
Going into Jacksonville, it don't get any better. It don't get any better, Clark.
It definitely doesn't get better than 7-0.
No, it don't get better than 7-0 in Jacksonville. I mean, anytime you go, I think that's the standard of the season. And as a fan, you get excited about getting to go to Jacksonville undefeated.
Yep.
Because you just feel good. It's only been a few times we've done it. 2002, we did it. 2005, we did it. In 2017, we did it. In 2002, lose a stupid game down there. 05, Shock gets hurt before we go down there. One thing, too, Clark, I want to point out is we used to not have this bye week before Jacksonville. Florida did. Spurrier wanted it because he wanted to beat Georgia so bad. So they would have a bye before us. And I think that led to some of that atrocious streak that we had in Jacksonville there in the 90s and early 2000s. Was that? But finally, we got it coordinated that both of us have byes going into Jacksonville. Right. How it should be, how the good Lord intended where the bye week to be. Yeah. The good Lord intended the bye week to be before the Florida game.
Well, I mean, it's just a smart place to put it because, you put it game 3, you're not as banged up as you are in week. In week 8.
That's right. So it's a good time for it. And, man, I think I'm excited to see how everybody looks coming out because, man, I think, one good thing we hadn't talked about, Kentucky, no injuries that we know of that were apparent from the eye and the stands,
And one thing I want to say about injuries, the reason we're starting to see these injuries pile up is because we practice harder than any other team in America, maybe outside of Alabama.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, people, the way that Kirby pushes these guys, and really all the coaches for that matter,
huge. Love it.
It is a tough, strenuous environment to practice in. It is not easy. So, much needed bye week this week, and the players will they'll probably practice maybe 3 days this week. Have a movie night on Thursday.
Yeah, y'all have a movie night. Everybody have a movie night this week. Instead of watching football this week, that we're not going to have it on Saturday, just watch a movie with the family. Go to the park with the kids. Go get you an ice cream cone. Get you a pumpkin from the pumpkin patch and just carve it up, do whatever and just get excited to, just make it a good family day. Yeah. Make it a good family day. Take this Saturday, rejuvenate, recover. Yeah, go get a coffee, take the dog to the park. And just enjoy it. Enjoy life. And be thankful to be a Georgia Bulldog with 7-0. And then get your mind right for the next week.
Yeah,
cocktail party. But this week, everybody can relax and focus on real world stuff.
Yes. This is the one and only week we can do that.
We give our listeners permission this 1 week to, maybe, I know tax season coming up to kind of get out the finances in order and to go to some kids' games and, like I said, get excited about festivities of the fall and not worry about football for right now. Yeah. As fans.
Well, Adam, speaking of finances, we've got to start saving. Man, we mentioned this on the phone call earlier, but, man, we got to start saving, people, because it's looking like one of those SEC championship, playoff, and national championship kind of season. So a lot of money needs to be saved if you're planning on traveling to those. So, oh, boy. All right.
Don't get better.
I want to mention this because I said I would, and it is just, I think this is just cool. Clisby Clarke had his 80th birthday on, I believe it was Thursday.
Might have been. I don't know.
I think. I can't remember. But all that to say, Clisby Clarke is a DGD. He is a DGD. If you don't know what that means, you're probably not a Georgia Bulldog.
That's right.
But
that's all it needs to be said.
Yes, absolutely. But Clisby Clarke, a man that wrote 2 beautiful songs, Let the Big Dog Eat and Bulldog Bite.
Yeah,
and 2 songs that just echo through Athens. A great singer-songwriter. You hear his song every single podcast that you listen to is at the intro. And then if you join us in our live call-in shows, we've got both the songs playing. Adam, when was the first time you heard one of Clisby Clarke's songs?
Probably when I was 6 or 7 from a burnt CD.
Oh yeah,
I still got the CD. Yeah, there was that, and it was a pre-game day tradition. I mean, it just getting me fired up. I had a piece of chicken, had a little drink, looked at all the girls, giving 1 or 2 a wink, sitting in my seat, radio to me because I have my headset.
Yeah, you always got your
radio,
headset.
so I relate with Clisby on that one. So I mean, he if you can find them. All his songs like that are on YouTube. So listen to them. It gets you fired up. Make that part of the pregame tradition. Songs that have stood the test of time, Clark, for 41 years now. So
and they were written.
We need to bring them back.
Yes, absolutely. They were written. Now, I believe I could be wrong about this. One was written in 1980 and the other in 81.
Yeah, probably. Right? I know it was in 80. I don't know. It was in that
that era. But with the boys in Herschel, there's a picture. We'll put it right here of
I think my mom actually had a record too that was on the needle back in the day. The old vinyl, some Clisby Clarke vinyl. I had the old school Bulldog.
I
had some of them classics on there.
But great man. Wanted to wish him a happy birthday and shout out to his family and his 2 daughters for allowing us to use these songs. We really do appreciate it.
You, Clarke family.
Yes. Thank you so much for allowing us to use them. And I'm sure that we didn't get to meet him. Or at least I didn't. But I'm sure he was a great man. I heard, there's plenty of articles out there on him that talk about, just a very lively spirit. So awesome. Thank you once again to the Clarke family for allowing us to use his songs.
Yes, sir.
All right. And with that, let's talk college football. Just big picture stuff here, Adam. Big talking points, and a lot has happened actually.
Yes,
in the past 24 hours. Let's start with Coach O.
Dan Orgeron. Dan Mullen got beat by Ed Orgeron, who is not going to be employed at the end of this year. That was already established. just everybody take
Let's put that out there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Coach O, man, big announcement.
Gone.
Will not be rejoining the LSU football team after this year. He's parting ways.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff going on, Clark. A little bit of, I think he won that national championship, got a big head. I mean, I hate it, and I think the fame really got to him. There's talk that he had his marriage split up, and he brought in some girlfriends to class or to practice, and their children were running plays with the team.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I thought about this. So can you imagine Nick Saban or Kirby Smart? I mean, they don't have time to be doing that stuff. Who has time to be chasing women during football season? Fans or coaches?
I got a funny story. Hold on, let me interject here. The funny story about bringing kids to practice. There was one time in 2016. It was the first year that Kirby had arrived on the scene, and then he had his two sons out there running out on the field during a big pass play on the other end zone, and the ball was coming straight towards his kids. I think past to Jason Stanley or somebody like that, and the kids were in the way. And I bet Kirby Smart ran probably a 4.2 40 down the field, and I'm just going to say he yelled at the kids to get off the field for their safety. Maybe a little bit of colorful language there, but nice. It was just
nice.
Sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent there.
I loved it. That's good.
But going back to Coach O, Adam, who are some of the names that you've heard that may potentially replace Coach O at LSU?
You have the typical Lane Kiffin, Luke Fickell. I mean, that's just generic stuff that's been thrown out. But I think for those two is Dave Aranda, the guy who was defense coordinator there for Les Miles, and Orgeron was there when they won the Natty in 19, doing a good job at Baylor now in year 2. And Mel Tucker, one of our own. Mel Tucker, a guy who's got Michigan State flying high in the top 10, done a quick turnaround there in his second year in East Lansing. So I think, they're kind of thinking that's a guy off the Saban Kirby tree, kind of cut from the same mold, been around them, a guy who can recruit the Louisiana area. Yeah. And then the Southeast, been around the SEC. So actually, Mel Tucker's a name to look out for, I think. Dark horse.
Man.
LSU going to be looking for a new coach.
That's just crazy. I mean, you're 2 years separated from a national championship, and essentially, now I'm just speculating here, but I would think this is pretty mutual.
Yes.
In that LSU wants to part ways with Ed Orgeron as much as Ed Orgeron wants to part ways with LSU at this point right now. So, who knows? There's going to be a lot of chatter about that, and a lot of the coaching carousel, as they call it, is going to be spinning this year, I'm sure.
Oh, it is. I love it. One of my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, man, if Mel Tucker were to sneak in there at LSU, that'd be interesting.
It would be interesting. We'll see.
I don't know. All right, let's talk Big Ten.
Iowa.
Can you believe Iowa?
I can.
You can? Yeah,
I can. I mean, the fake Hawkeyes. I'm just going to say the Falkeyes.
The Falkeyes.
The Falkeyes. Yeah. Fake. So, I think that they they're pretenders. You're not a college football playoff contender. If you get beat like a drum by Purdue. You get that?
The Boilermakers.
Oh, yeah.
Purdue. Yeah, there you go.
By Purdue. 24-7 at home, man. Don't give me none of this Iowa defense. Kurt Ferentz. Hey. Kurt Ferentz has been losing games like that at Iowa since 99.
Dang. Well, you were right, and I was wrong. I was high on Iowa and the Hawkeyes, and seeing them maybe potentially make that run for a playoff. But right now, just the playoff picture, and we've said this week after week. You guys are probably sick and tired of listening to this, but it has just changed so much. And the Big Ten, really, I mean, this is the conference which a lot of people are saying right now looks the best out of all of them, because you've got Penn State, you've got Michigan State, you got Michigan, you've got Iowa. Well, not so much anymore. But I mean, and potentially Ohio State. 5 potential teams that could make it.
They're going to cannibalize Clark, and I'll be honest, they're going to eat each other up. And when it's going to be said and done, I don't think there's a lot of good football teams in the Big Ten. I think it's Ohio State. I think Ohio State's about to blast every one of them.
Well, they look.
We're going to be honest.
Yeah, they look a lot better than they did against Oregon week 2. With C.J. Stroud, he's really picked it up. That offense is getting going. So
that's right.
Big Ten, it's looking interesting.
Ohio State scares me about as much as anybody to play for Georgia. Yeah, because of the receiver talent. I think they have. I mean, Alabama's up there too, but I think Ohio State's receiver play and Stroud kind of making some strides, maturing at the quarterback position. I think if there's going to be a team that moves the football on Georgia, we've said it before, nobody's going to run on Georgia with a strong running game. It's going to be playmakers at the receiver position. Ohio State has that. If they start clicking, that might be a challenge, and that's why I think if we meet them, it's going to have to be that we're going to have to get in a little bit of a foot race with them, and that's why that offense just kind of a lot of football to be played in there. But I already think about that. I already think about matching up our secondary with Ohio State's receivers. Sure. A little bit nerve-wracking. I mean, we're going to be honest about it. We got to say it, Clark. Yeah. It's a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Another team. This is unreal. Cincinnati. Number 2. I think we're going to get another number 2 just week in, week out.
Well, I tell you, Clark, I think with Cincinnati, they're doing their job in Group of 5 conference play. When they're playing their American opponents, they're whooping them. And they have a win over a Big Ten ranked opponent. I think they were overrated.
At the time. Indiana. Right now, they're 2-3.
Yeah, they're terrible at the time. But I think you have to count out at the time wins. I mean, look, as our win against Clemson, they were number 3 to start the season. Yeah. At the time, that team, that was an impressive win. So I think you have to, going to Notre Dame in South Bend, Cincinnati beat a top 10 team and went on the road. They got that. I think this is the year you have to put them in if they go undefeated because of the Notre Dame win. Because they did that, or because you're sending a message that you're never going to have a non-Power 5 team make the playoff if you don't put them in. And because they did go out there and they're out of conference, they went and traveled to Indiana. They went and traveled to Notre Dame. And I know Indiana, I get that, but still Notre Dame, who I don't think is a good football team, but they beat them in South Bend. I mean, what more can you?
Well, and when the playoff committee gets around to this question, they're going to think. All right, they're going to talk about obviously the strength of record or strength of schedule, but they're going to look at the strength of record,
right?
And they're going to say, this Notre Dame team isn't the same as they were maybe whenever. And same thing with us. They're going to look at Clemson win, which hopefully they won't have to look too hard to put Georgia in, but they're going to look at Clemson and say that wasn't that big of a win, impressive of a win.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you talk about this playoff scenario. I mean, go ahead and name the other team that's kind of started to come on up. Oklahoma. I mean, they look like a different team now with Caleb Williams, coming in at freshman quarterback, a guy that Georgia could have got. We went with Brock Vandegrift, which I'm glad we did. Yeah. But, a guy that I think could have been coming to Athens, but has played really well. You could tell he has the respect of that team. We talked about earlier in the show, Clark, how important it is for the quarterback to have the respect of the team. Spencer Rattler, I think from looking at him at QB1, just from the outside, he seems like a self-centered guy that it didn't look like the offense hummed with him, but now it's a whole different team in Norman.
And it makes you wonder, are there guys still in that locker room that would rather have Spencer Rattler? I don't know.
I don't think there is. Probably I think they're humming, and I think they're going to go undefeated and be in the playoff now. I really do.
Yeah. Oklahoma State could get them. And then
could. They're
undefeated. I don't know how the Big 12 championship
It'll just
works,
be the number 2 team. There's no divisions.
Okay.
It'll be number 2. Yeah, Oklahoma State is a team that's interesting. Mike Gundy is a guy who's known for his offensive explosiveness and teams like Big 12 is. But they're playing a little football. Mm-hmm. They're playing a little football over there in Stillwater. I mean, defense. Of course they're playing football. But they're playing a little defense. They're playing defense in Stillwater. It's kind of uncharacteristic. So I don't know. I mean, does that high-powered Oklahoma offense get shut down by improving good Oklahoma State defense in Bedlam at the end of the year? I don't know.
Who knows?
We will see.
That will be a heck of a game right there when we get to that point.
What's going to be interesting, you still have Oregon as a one-loss team. Did not look good in Berkeley the other night against Cal. On Friday night.
They played in Eugene.
That was Eugene, excuse me. My bad.
You're good.
But thanks, still, won by 7. Mm-hmm. So, but, I mean, you think about it. If the Pac-12, you have a one-loss Oregon champion in the Pac-12. Oklahoma's undefeated. Cincinnati, Group of 5 undefeated. Ohio State, 1 loss. Do you think, let me ask you this question. Do you think the committee will put in Ohio State with 1 loss, Big Ten champion, and Oklahoma's going to go in undefeated Big 12. Let's say that. Let's just say they beat Oklahoma State. Okay. Let's say Georgia beats Alabama, eliminates them. That adds a whole nother element to it. If Alabama beats Georgia, gives them their 1 loss and goes. But let's just say Georgia kills the king, beats Alabama. So you got Georgia in, Oklahoma in. Those last 2 spots, you give Oregon, who might not look as good as Ohio State does now, but beat Ohio State head-to-head in Columbus early in the season. And Cincinnati, do you put in Oregon and Ohio State? Does the 1-loss Ohio State jump an undefeated Cincinnati? Or do you leave Ohio State out, even though they might look the most impressive out of that group?
Yeah.
What's the committee going to do? But I tell you what you can't do. I tell you what you can't do right now. You cannot leave out a 1-loss Oregon team and a Pac-12 that has not been in the college football playoffs since Washington 2016. You cannot, when Oregon goes to Ohio State, plays these high-profile non-conference games, the committee just wants.
Yeah.
And then you go and you beat them head-to-head and you put Ohio State in the playoff because they're Ohio State over Oregon.
I don't know.
Maybe Cincinnati gets a short end of the stick in that situation.
But Oregon's lost to Stanford. Whew. That was
well,
now. Granted, that was Oregon didn't play a good football game, and it came down to the wire. So there's going to be a lot. Look, this whole season is going to be under a huge magnifying glass when it gets down to it, because they're going to really have to sort through these questions to determine who are the 4 best teams. Now, has the committee always stuck to that? I don't think so. I really don't think they have, because they left Georgia out in 18, which whatever. Yeah. But
the 2-loss thing,
if it's truly about the 4 best teams in football, I think you get Georgia. I think you get Oklahoma. I think you get.
You're probably gonna get Ohio State. I think if they run the table and they keep putting up the offensive numbers, the committee loves Ohio State. The committee loves Ohio State and Alabama.
Yeah, they really do.
But I'm just saying, it would be a travesty. Tragic if they put a 1-loss Big Ten champion Ohio State in a spot over a 1-loss Oregon team, Pac-12 champion, who beat them in Columbus.
Yeah, but I mean, Ohio State though, I mean, truly, and look,
I mean, it's going to be whatever way the committee looks at it.
Right, but I think their strength of schedule is way tougher to me.
No, you're right. If they win, that is true, because you're going to be facing a 1-loss Penn State team, undefeated Michigan State, undefeated Michigan. Yeah. You're right. You got a lot of back end of the schedule, tough opponents, so they probably will. I don't know, but I mean, you can't just let that loss to Oregon, that head-to-head that the committee's talked about. You got to go outside and play Power 5 teams instead of scheduling these FCS teams or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't not value that. I don't know. I'm glad I'm not there.
I tell you
as
what.
long as Georgia's there, I don't care.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We can do all the speculating we want. But, I think this just shows how badly we need a 6 to 18 playoff.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which I've always suggested 6. I think that makes the most sense. You have 5 and 6 play in, and then 1 and 2 get a bye, and then
it's going to be interesting. I don't know. Quick, tell me. Who today sitting going into the bye week? Who is your playoff teams?
I'm going to take Georgia. I'm going to take Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Cincinnati.
Bam.
All red teams, by the way. We're all red. So
bam.
That's really how I think it's going to play out.
Yeah, I agree with you, Clark. I think it will be. I think Cincinnati's going to sneak in. I honestly think I bring up that Oregon debate. I think they're going to get beat one more time. I think they're going to get beat one more time, and the college football playoff committee is just going to have a sigh of relief for that. Yeah. I do think Ohio State's going to come in. I think Oklahoma's going to run the table, and but we'll talk about it when we get there. But boy, that's going to be some tall tasks.
Absolutely,
you know.
Absolutely.
So, I agree. Honestly, I repeat everything you just said.
All right. Well, let's talk about last Saturday's games. Oh, kind of a crazy day in college football world. Not as much so as we saw the week before, but Auburn at Arkansas. Did you get to watch much of that?
Yeah, I did, Clark. I did. You know, it kind of seems like the luster and the shine of Arkansas kind of wore off a little bit.
And you were right. Because I mean, a lot of the first few weeks you were saying, you know, this Arkansas team, I really understand the hype. So.
I think they have definitely exceeded expectations for the year, and no doubt Sam Pittman's still doing a good job. Mm-hmm. It was a tough 3-game stretch they had there, but just not there yet. Just don't have the Jimmies and the Joes just quite yet.
I've never heard that. The
Jimmies and the Joes.
I like that.
Yeah, the Jimmies and the Joes.
You think there are a lot of Jimmies and Joes on that football team?
No, they need more of them. They need more of them. Horses ain't there in the stable yet with them. And Auburn's a good team, man. You know,
and you could make the argument that they are the best 2-loss team in the nation.
You could. A&M. So, but hey, here's the deal. If Auburn goes out and beats A&M, beats Ole Miss, 2 impressive wins right there on the schedule, and then you know, they get Alabama at home. They've beat Alabama the past 2 times. They played at Jordan-Hare in 17-19. Then we face them again in the SEC championship. I don't know. I mean, the way this year's going, who knows, man? So
dang, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. That would be a crazy scenario. Oklahoma State at Texas last week. I didn't get to see
I can't remember who I picked, but Oklahoma State defense won that game, it seemed like. So
that's all I know about that game.
A couple interceptions. I think they had a pick 6, and then I think an interception at the end to seal it, maybe. So
gotcha.
No, Gundy, don't count him out.
Yeah.
Don't count him out. Undefeated over there in Stillwater.
Yeah.
Good for them.
The one that shocked me, this is crazy. Florida at LSU. I truly thought Dan Mullen, I gave him a little too much credit.
I tell you what, they're getting the natives in games were getting a little restless. Getting a little restless down there. Old Dan might not be. I know they won't grant them out. They've been wanting them out since last year. And it's one of these deals that you think they're going to fire Grantham mid-season, and they got a veteran, Paul Pasqualini. He used to coach Syracuse back in the day, and maybe a veteran defense guy's like an analyst on staff. I can't pronounce his last name, but everybody knows who he is. Does he take over as interim, or did they fire? And when they fire Grantham, or it doesn't matter what happens in Jacksonville? I think what's happening was setting up in Jacksonville. Clark could potentially be like 17 when kind of it's going to be interesting. We'll talk about it more next episode. But as a team, you're going to see what kind of respect Mullen has from his players. Are they going to just cash it in, or are they going to fight and rally for their coach? Is it going to be like what they did for McElwain in 17 down there, where it looked like they just had no interest, and then McElwain's not coming back, relieved of his duties after?
I don't think it's to that point yet, but we may get a hint of that.
Yeah, you're going to tell a lot though from what how they respond in the bye week, and then in Jacksonville. But definitely some rough waters for old Dan, and that couldn't happen to a better coach, a better person.
I tell you though, it's going to be sad if Dan Mullen were to leave Florida. I'd rather have him there.
Dang right. I want somebody who doesn't think that he has to recruit. He just thinks that he can just be a quarterback whisperer and develop the players into winning team. Take a group of 3 stars and win the national championship with them. Because I don't want anybody who's an elite recruiter down in Gainesville.
No, I don't either. I don't either.
But another loss to LSU, another inexcusable one. 1-3 against Orgeron.
Yep. You mean another loss to Florida?
Another loss to another loss. Oh yeah, I would say another loss to LSU by Florida.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, another loss to LSU. I'm sorry, I might not have worded that right. Another loss to LSU by Florida because they lost a ridiculous one last year with the shoe. Mm-hmm. And then this year.
That's right. All right, Ole Miss at Tennessee. Oh my gosh. I've never seen a game like this. And if you haven't seen it, if you did not get a chance to see it, you need to go on YouTube and watch the last 30 minutes of this football game. I've never in my life seen anything like it. If you don't know what we're talking about, Tennessee was driving, all right, for a potential go-ahead touchdown with about 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
They had a spot that was probably a foot short.
That was 4th and 24.
Yeah, 4th and 24. They almost got the first down and put themselves in really good scoring position. They came up a yard short-ish. I thought it was a good spot, actually.
It was a good spot. He had his ball. The ball was tucked kind of towards his waist. So if he extended out, it's easy.
Oh, yeah. So he didn't get the first down, and then pandemonium ensues, and we're getting beer bottles, mustard bottles, we're getting golf balls thrown on the field, hundreds of them. I mean, this isn't 10 of them. This is 100.
Suspended play for 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so, maybe even longer than that. And the teams had to come into the middle of the field for their safety, and just debris just keeps on. I mean, just typical Neyland Stadium behavior.
Yeah.
I just said Lane Kiffin secretly was loving it. You could tell.
He loved it. And that golf ball, he literally, he got hit by a neon, I guess it was a range ball, golf ball, and he picked it up, and I'm sure that thing's going in a glass case. But it's just a terrible look for Tennessee. And I want to say this, that's not reflective of all Tennessee football fans, right? Just like we have our idiot, obnoxious Georgia football fans out there who just are morons.
I tell you what, Clark, their next home game, this is the Dogs. We plan on going there. The women and children might not be able to make it that one.
This may not be a take your women and children kind of game.
No, we're going to have to wear some body armor or something over there. I mean, it could get wild in Knox Vegas.
Yeah. The band had to evacuate. The cheerleaders had to evacuate.
The dance team. It looked like they were just getting bombed. I mean, they had the signs over their head, just evacuating, going to the tunnel. It was a wild scene.
Did you see Lane Kiffin exiting the field? They threw a water bottle at him. He caught it. He tossed it on the ground, and it was not water, people. It definitely not water. He took his visor, though. He tossed it up in the stands.
I'm telling you, it was crazy. Of course, obviously, for a little back history, Lane Kiffin left Knoxville in the middle of the night to go to USC after just coaching there one season. And has been disliked ever since. That was in 2009. And Tennessee, first sellout that they've had since Georgia in 2017. We went up there and smoked them 41-0. And they were believing in Knoxville. And I think just frustration just got to a little bit of a climax there. And then just, bam, that happened. So good win by Ole Miss. Yeah. They might go 11-1. Who knows? It's going to be interesting.
Let's talk about this just for a second. Matt Corral, is he your Heisman front runner? And let me ask you this. Where does Jordan Davis stand in all this? Because there is a lot of attention there. Yeah. Jordan Davis is getting a lot of hype for Heisman.
I think he should be in there, but in today's day and world, everybody likes the flashiness of a quarterback or a running back or wide receiver. There is no just clear front runner like there's been in the past decade of college football, it seems like, with a skilled player. So I truly believe, Clark, it would be Corral if they had beaten Alabama, if they were kind of in that top 5 playoff chase. And it seems like it's got to be a guy that's kind of, in the hunt. Maybe Manziel was about similar because he wouldn't, Texas A&M wasn't in the hunt when he won it.
Right.
And Corral kind of plays like him, has similar stats, But is Corral going to have that moment? Beating Tennessee by 5 and Neyland's not it. Yeah. They've already played Alabama. He laid an egg really against them. It would have to be, I hate to say it, is if Alabama slips up, loses another one, and Ole Miss makes the SEC championship game, and then he plays Georgia and beats Georgia.
I think
that would be something. Yeah,
Ole Miss just a Bama.
They would have to have Bama lose to go, but I think he would need to play against somebody like a defense like Georgia and do well against them and possibly win that game, win the SEC, and then of course he'd lock it up. He still might win it because in these big, like Georgia, there's nobody that's going to be it, and then Oklahoma doesn't have anybody. Spencer Rattler's obviously not it. C.J. Stroud has an argument. He might be the guy. It might be one of the two of them. I don't know. It just depends on what way the voters want to go. So,
I tell you, Jordan Davis deserves to be there in New York, whether he wins it or not. If Manti Te'o was there,
he does.
Jordan Davis definitely does he makes a difference. He is, if you're looking at it from a best player in the nation kind of standpoint, not necessarily stats, not necessarily touchdowns, not necessarily yards gained. If you look at it from that perspective, I think Jordan Davis by far is one of the best in the nation.
Absolutely.
And easily top 5 in my opinion.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on. Wheaton College Thunder at Carroll University Pioneers, our game of the week last week.
We got it right, Clark.
We got it right.
The Thunder rolled and the lightning striked.
Yes.
And another love grew cold on a weary night.
Is that from something? Or are you?
That's song lyrics. That's song lyrics. I think I got it right. Old Garth Brooks song.
Yeah, well, that's
the
that's
Wheat
the
and
reason.
Thunder. Yeah, the Wheat and Thunder. They rolled 48-13.
I don't like Garth Brooks. I'm sorry. I'm getting a death stare from Kelsey.
I'm not a big fan of him either, but I just had a good opportunity to throw some lyrics there, so that's why I said
there you go.
I'm not a big fan of him.
There you go. And the only reason I don't like him is because he's stolen one too many entertainers of the year from Eric Church. So whatever.
But hey, good job by Wheaton. Good job. Game of the week winners. Smoked him.
All right, let's move on to this week's picks. Georgia, once again, is off. We're not going to pick our game. We're going to win this week because we're beaten by. Yeah, that's it. All right, Clemson at Pittsburgh, 3:30.
Give me the Pitt Panthers, Court.
All right,
let's go. Give me the Pitt Panthers.
Any reason why?
Because Clemson's pitiful, and Kenny Pickett has an argument to be up there with Matt Corral's the best quarterback in the nation right now, slinging the football. First time Clemson's been to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's going to be cold. Another trip up north because they play in the ACC. They had to go to Syracuse last week. Going to Pittsburgh this week. Give me the Panthers and the points. Pittsburgh.
Oh gosh, could you imagine? I thought about this the other night. Could you imagine being a Clemson fan and having to travel to Syracuse?
No, you can't do it.
And Pittsburgh.
Can't do it.
Man, there's a lot of traveling on the East Coast. I think we're blessed.
Yeah, give me Kenny Pickett and the Panthers.
I like it. I'm gonna take the Panthers too.
Yeah.
Because I watched Clemson's performance against Syracuse. Was not very impressed. I thought they bounced back after a bye week and kind of regrouped, and I think they looked a little bit better. But man, this Pittsburgh team seems pretty decent. So I'm going to take Panthers as well. All right, LSU at Ole Miss, 3:30 CBS. Do we want to do the bum, 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 bum?
Not a very enthusiastic, but because that's not a very enthusiastic 3:30 game. But old traditional rival. Yeah. But old traditional rival. Give me the Rebels, Ole Miss. I mean, they're going to be in Oxford. LSU is done. They've cashed it in. They can only beat Florida. That's the only team they can beat.
Well, and it gets interesting because does LSU rally together? Did they play for Coach O? Or are they? You think
no, they're done. They're done. They're done.
Yeah.
Book it. Ole Miss wants to win this one.
Yeah. If they want to stay,
the Rebels.
If they want to stay in the hunt,
give me the Rebels and the points.
Yep. I'm going to take Ole Miss too. Lane Kiffin. They're going to. Hopefully they won't get attacked by golf balls this week.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Tennessee at Alabama, the third Saturday in October, whatever that rivalry's called. Oh, this is one of my favorite games to watch. It really
I do enjoy it. I don't know why, but I love watching Tennessee, Alabama. Just tradition.
Just tradition. Just the hillbillies and the rednecks, man. And they
hate each other.
They hate each other. So
they used to. I guess they still do. I know Tennessee's. I don't know. Anyway.
Let's see. I'm going to go, obviously, Alabama, but I'm going to take Alabama by about 4 touchdowns. I think they're going to get absolutely Tennessee's boat raced in this. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff, ESPN.
Give me Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama.
There's no question about that.
Yeah.
All right. USC at Notre Dame, 7:30 NBC kickoff.
Pillow fight.
Pillow fight.
Not impressed with either one of the teams, but Notre Dame's going to win it.
All right. For whatever reason.
Are you going with the Trojans?
I'm going to go with the Trojans. Why not?
All right.
Why not?
All right, man. I like it. All right, go with it.
I don't know why. I haven't even watched USC this year, but whatever. Going with the upset. Which leads us, last but not least, to the game of the week. Alderson, Broadus University.
The Battlers. Not a snake like the rat, like going into battle. The Battlers. They love battle.
Battlers. I don't know.
Battlers.
At West Virginia Wesleyan. I can't pronounce these.
The West Virginia Wesleyan Bobcats.
Wesleyan. Okay, Bobcats. I know nothing about these two teams.
I think I'm going to go with Alderson, Broadus. And you said that both of these schools were combined. That's where the name came from. It wasn't like this was a famous guy.
Right.
Alderson, Broadus isn't a real individual that we know of, right? So
I think Alderson was. That was the last name.
Might have been, but they just came together.
Right. And Alderson was a general, I believe, in the Civil War way back when.
All right, give me the Battlers because I like their name.
All right.
Alderson, Broadus University, Battlers.
I'm also going to take Alderson because it is a dry campus, so no alcohol may be consumed.
Interesting. Sure, that's not going to be a rowdy environment then in Alderson, Broadus.
No.
There you go.
There it is. Game of the week. That was a little uneventful and anticlimactic, but that's all we got. That's all we could come up with. So, all right. Last thing we want to mention before we close it and sign off, call-in show. Be ready for this, people.
Yes,
we are going to do a call-in show the week of the Florida game. It is either going to be the Thursday or Friday. Looking about the Friday, though. Friday night.
Yes.
Before the Georgia-Florida game.
Before the big one.
Before the big one. And it will be referenced on this podcast always as the Georgia-Florida game, not the Florida-Georgia game.
That's right.
Okay, don't get that confused, people.
Absolutely.
So be on the lookout for details about the call-in show. Give us a ring. We want to hear from you guys. We will be live from Jacksonville. We won't be in here. We'll be on the beach.
We'll be on the beach in Amelia Island, baby. I love it. I love it. I love it.
All right, Adam.
All right, let's
give me
going into the bye week.
Yeah.
We got to get focused on going into the bye week. Everybody knows Georgia, Florida. That's the big one. That's what we live for. That's the traditional one. We got 2 weeks to get ready for that one. So this week, rejuvenate, drink some liquids, get hydrated. It's family time. Family time.
Yeah.
Key. Family time.
Absolutely.
Everybody spend time with their loved ones. Go outside. Take some nature walks. Go hit some rounds on the golf course. Just relax a little bit. Sleep in a little bit. Watch a little, watch a little Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy with the family and whatnot, because you're not going to be watching football, and just enjoy that time. Go pick a pumpkin or something and carve some, make some cookies out and whatnot. Kind of do that thing. Do the family deal. And then get your mind right, because we're going to Jacksonville, Florida. And there's nothing like, we've seen too many rough times in Jacksonville, Florida. There's nothing like beating the Gators, and I mean dominating the Gators. Is nothing better. Number 1 ranked Georgia against unranked Florida. Get your minds right. Get you a room down in Amelia and St. Simon's, Jackal Island, all those dog places where all these condominiums, all these dog folks got these condominiums for 3 or 4 days. Man, there's going to be some property destroyed that weekend. Go Dogs, baby.
Go Dogs. Ooh, 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 ooh.